2026, February 6th. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming to Black Comes to Eugene. In the background, we have the great John Coltrane. We are streaming online at kepw.org. It's a Peaceworks community radio project, and this is also a production of the Wowhall here in Eugene, Oregon, and their appreciation for the contribution of the African American community in the arts. And on my behalf, our contribution on behalf of the soul of the United States of America, we're here today in little old Eugene, Oregon, celebrating some of that love, some of the people, and some of the music that has went into sustaining positive, relations, positive outlooks in a world that has always been at odds in many ways with just the welfare of our children, the welfare of our people, the support of our artists. And so tonight we want to celebrate our artists, and we want to celebrate freedom and liberty. And so as you listen to John Coltrane in the background, he is a spirit that came to us in the mid-20th century, offering a vision of liberty and freedom and creativity. And so we might not recognize it in our Eurocentric context, but we need to widen our mind. And John Coltrane and the music of acid jazz, and some call it acid jazz, that's kind of wild, but Afro music, centered music that is centered on an African spirit and an ancient searching for spirituality. That's something that we all share, especially here in the Willamette Valley. Isn't that interesting? So this whole idea of being progressive, being searching for good answers, looking for something that's sustainable. This is something that has been around in the African reality for a long time. And so I'm happy to be able to celebrate just being here with you today and celebrate Black History Month in Eugene, Oregon, in the midst of all that we have to deal with today. You hear what I'm saying? All right. Thank you. So tonight, we're going to have a really good program. And like I said, we're going to be touching on all kinds of bases. And the first thing I want to touch on is personal responsibility to reach out, to be there for other people. I think this is, when I study Africa, we've got some books on the tables in the back. I hope you all go back and peruse through some of the African literature that's there about the beauty and richness of African people and African culture. There's some books there. We can talk about it amongst yourself. Read a page or two. Get some thoughts. Let's dig into some of the reality that has existed amongst ourselves. We have a beautiful multicultural community and society. Let's embrace that and build our future together. And so the African component is being celebrated tonight, but I celebrate all components of the human family. And I want to thank tonight especially someone as dear to my heart and dear to my family, an African American family, as you will hear a little bit later, who came from St. Louis, Missouri to Eugene, Oregon, 1971. And we were blessed to be able to find in Eugene, Oregon, people of humanity, people who have experiences of their own that have drawn them to the understanding that all people should be respected and all people should be heard and maybe interacted with, and maybe something new can come out of that interaction, something new and positive. We shouldn't be afraid of the other, we should embrace each other. And so tonight, I'd like to bring up to the stage a longtime family friend and a couple other brothers who happen to live out in the countryside. So I think I can call y'all rural brothers, some rural Oregon brothers who live in Pleasant Hill. So please, welcome to the stage, the iconic Eugene resident and what is it, intrepid prankster, traveler, Ken Babbs. I didn't want to say Kenny Babbs. Ken Babbs, Kenneth Babbs, please come on to the stage because you are someone to be respected. 90 years old, just celebrated his 90th birthday. This is a man of good spirit and who has given so much to Lane County and to Oregon and to our nation in many ways through his creativity and his willingness to be on the edge of things. Thank you, Ken Babbs, for coming. And we also have with us Walker T. Ryan, who's going to play some guitar. And then we also have Ken Chevrolet. I'm always messing up your last name with Ryan. Ken, I'm just stuck with Ken. Yeah, and if you don't know, I mean, this is like old Eugene lore. What's the name of this group? It's called the Quattro Quartet. And it's Babbs' group. And so we're gonna play a little music here. Let me, Babbs, I gotta turn this stuff off here. I gotta get the music going here. So I'm gonna turn it down. All right, so now we're gonna move into this without the music, but I'm gonna put the slideshow back up. Come on. Can you get in here? So, yeah, okay. Yeah, so Ken, it's on you. Okay. Welcome Ken Babbs, y'all. Give it up for Ken Babbs.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Welcome to the land of dreams, the land of schemes, the land where we do what we want to do as long as it's within our means, without hurting anybody else. Yeah, we play, we go, then we go home. And then, once the lights go down, then we're lying out there in the dark, the stars overhead. They don't seem so far away sometimes. You ever see those little fellers out there? They're out there, you know. They want to talk to you. If you only knew that language, you gotta open your ears, get that wax out. You wax, you wane, you play, you explain. You give it all you got, and when you're tired, you've let it all hang out. So there we were, out there on the grass. The sun went down about an hour ago. No do to talk about, and no don't when you're out there. See what I mean? On the grass. In a small Texas town, 150 years ago, a big thunderstorm went through, leaving the dirt roads and sidewalks muddy messes. Messes. Ah, God, you know what that's like. The door of a house facing the street opened and two elegantly dressed ladies stepped out. They eyed the muddy mess. Oh, that mess. Oh. men, dressed in overalls and wearing boots, came along and stopped. What do you think, Clem? Should we give her a hand? Well, it might be the neighborly thing to do, or is that the neighborly thing? Is that the... I wish I could talk this language. I think it's the neighborly thing to do. They reached out and took the woman by the hand. When a voice behind them said, "Hold on there." Two cowboys stood watching. One of them said to the other, "We don't want them black hands on a white woman, do we, Clyde?" "No way, Buck." Oh my gosh. They started toward the black men when another voice said, "Let's not be too hasty." No, not too hasty. They looked around, and there was the sheriff standing there. The sheriff, "You fellers skedaddle on and I'll take care of this," the sheriff said. "Okay, see you do, Sheriff." And they turned and walked off. "Here you go, ladies," the sheriff said. Remember the ladies trying to get out of the house, across the muddy sidewalk? He helped them across the muddy sidewalk and into the carriage that was waiting for them. "And you two fellers," the sheriff said to the black men, "might be a good idea to make yourselves scarce for a while." They were nodded, walked away, and disappeared down an alley. "Nicely done, Sheriff," a voice said behind him. The sheriff turned and said, "No sense in seeing any bloodshed. Black lives matter too." Rockin' a bowl, and them on the land of the wall. Don't be dome said, "Rock, rock, rock, rock to the bottom, the bottom." Only down the long, long, long boom, 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 boom. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all, musicians.
All right, Babbs, thank you. Thank you, sir. And thank you, gentlemen. Representing Pleasant Hill, representing Eugene and the surrounding area, Lane County. I just have to say thank you, and I gained so much just from listening and being in your presence. Ken, old brother, served in the military, if you knew. Flew helicopters, I believe it or not. Is that right?
What's that?
Flew a helicopter once or twice? Yeah, so.
I was in the Marine Corps, a captain and a helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for your service, man.
Oh God, I just love that.
You know, and I know it's a complicated one. Speaking of Black History Month.
You only knew what my service was.
You dig?
Hey
man, you didn't get a
service all those people.
You didn't get no article at 15 or nothing like that, did you?
No, I got Article 21 and 22.
21, 22.
Yes.
All right, y'all can look it up.
Yes.
You're a legend.
Woo. So
Yeah, a legend.
some people might be asking, Eric, Ken Babbs, served and thing, brother raised a family out on the side in the country outside of Eugene, did a lot of things, very progressive, kind of rattled people's feathers perhaps. What's he have to do with you talking about black comes to Eugene? And the reason why is because, I think about black comes to Eugene. We have a brother in the audience and actually going to be playing cello later on tonight named Greg Black. And Greg, what year did you come to Eugene? 1979. Greg Black came to Eugene. So we're talking about black coming to Eugene. I wasn't really talking about Greg, but we're just talking about this phenomenon that exists in the United States of America, of its relationship with the African peoples who were formerly enslaved by the United States of America, and before that the British colonies, and before that the Spanish Empire and whatnot. And so as we go forward 500-600 years later, after all the things I just spoke about, it took a long time for black folks to make it to the Willamette Valley, the home of the Kalapuya, to this beautiful part of the North American continent with rivers and mountains and old growth and ferns and moss. What a beautiful place. And so Black Comes to Eugene is really a concept about what does it mean to be an American and be a black person coming to Eugene, Oregon. First of all, like I said, indigenous space in all reality and truth. But then, of course, Joseph Lane, the founder of our county, was on a Confederate ticket against Abraham Lincoln. So we live in a county who's named after a Confederate patriot, or Confederate, whatever you want to call those brothers. And so we have to understand that a black comes into this situation, and it's very recent occasion. Very recent occasion. Even though Ken is 90, the Vietnam era is something that my parents had to live through, and so it's something that I, through their experience and their what they have taken in from that experience and given to me through their lessons, is something that I carry with me, and that is very close. And so we have to understand there's been many battles that we've fought, and most of them are battles of the mind, right? Black history. What is black? Well, when you want to start talking about black, we got to go scientific, because we're talking about the melanin molecule, which all people, all mammals on the planet Earth have melanin. And so therefore we're talking about each other. We're talking about what does it mean to be a mammal of high thinking and reason and capable of compassion, empathy, and love. What does it mean to be that on this fragile planet that we have, that we share? So I wonder, and I ask that question every Black History Month, because in 1985, I believe, y'all can look it up, Newsweek magazine, front page Newsweek magazine, there's a black woman, kind of light-skinned black woman. There's a black man, kind of light-skinned black man, in the role of Adam and Eve on the front page of Newsweek. Scientific discovery. Mitochondrial DNA links all humans to one single black woman in Africa 200,000 years ago. We're all one people. Newsweek. I think it was 1987 actually. But then therefore, right immediately after that, guess what happened? Then you had Tom Brokaw and other people on the news talking about the big hoax behind the black identity of the ancient Egyptians. How all these people were just lying and not out of Africa. And so now, instead of us truly moving into the 21st century with education, scientific insight, and compassion, we have other folks who are talking about let's forget about science. Let's disband these kind of efforts. Let's do that. And we have to. So I just want to recognize today that this is in direct opposition of black coming to Eugene. Black came to Eugene, and black was asking and demanding liberty and freedom for all the people. He was demanding some respect for our native brothers and sisters. Black was wondering what was happening with the job market and the housing supply that they were not allowed to get into. They were asking questions. And so the regime that we see going on now doesn't want to answer any one of those questions. They don't want to have any responsibility to their role in this society as members, family members, participants. And so we look here, I look up there at some beautiful brothers, kind of looking wild, right? Some wild, you can't see it on the radio. We're on the radio, by the way, KEPW. We're going live. But this is some African tribes, and they're giving you that look. But that's a look of consciousness, awareness. What I'm seeing going on now is a lack of consciousness and awareness, a lack of the things that matter most. And the lessons I've learned, things that matter most are invisible. Can't touch them, can't see them. That's like my affection for someone, my loyalty to someone, the thought that I'm going to wake up and do a good deed for someone or something. Those things are, those thoughts, those places, those urges, those are all invisible, and they're not, and they're rewarded in an invisible place. But right now, what we have people is who are strictly relating their existence to a physical place. We're not a physical people, we're a soul people. And the soul doesn't exist in a physical realm. The soul exists in a ethereal, transcendental realm. Excuse my words there. But we exist, and I say we, because I talked about our ancestor 200,000 years, that woman. And I talked about the spark that we all hold. We exist as stardust, right? We've all heard the story. We all know the science, right? We have the Webb telescope showing us things about the science that really reaffirm some of the ancestral knowledge that we all have heard before as well. So, all I'm asking is that in this stage where we are, Black History Month 2026, let's celebrate what we have together. Because we have so much together, and what we have together is the cause of alarm for people who are barbarous. Because barbarous people don't like to have to learn the rule. They don't have to maybe give a place in line for somebody else just to be to have chivalry. So in this day and age, believe it or not, even though people might look at that picture and say, oh, those are barbarians. Who's the barbarian when we talk about how we treat one another? And what is it? And so civilization comes about when we say we care for one another. How can we make it easier for one another? That is civilization. Barbarism says, how can I, the biggest person in the room, make sure that everybody knows I'm the biggest one and gives me everything I want? And then everybody who's around that person says can get something to eat because that person might give them something to eat. We see that in a lion pride. We see that in other places that aren't human. That's barbarism. And so as we go forward, and I talk about black comes to Eugene, what is black? That's something I've always liked to talk about. This whole idea, what is black? Black is nothing to be pitied. You know, so if you're going around like, oh, these black people, they done went through so much, and they go in the city and everything's so bad, and I pity them, and so therefore let's do some DEI work. If that's what you're saying, no thank you. Don't want your pity. Because what you're not doing is you're not recognizing the qualities in the black people. What we want is for you to work with us to accentuate what we've been saying all along, is that it takes a village. It takes relationships. It takes caring for people other than your own, and a sense of service and duty, and a little discipline because you got to study in the modern world. I hate to say it, y'all. I was just at Adams Elementary, and I said the same thing to the little third and kindergarten and fifth grader. Had some eighth graders there, came over from ATA. But I told, sorry to tell you, it takes a little discipline. You need to study, you need to read, you need to care, you need to investigate. And guess what? These are God-given. I don't want to get all like that, but these are gifts that you have that mimic the ultimate creation. The ultimate creation. If we are in the image of anything and we are supposed to all that, then what is your creation that you put forth that is good, that is creative, that brings forth life? So those are the questions we ask during Black History Month. And, I don't want to go too contemporary, but we saw what happened in our leadership today. This is something that we all foresaw. In fact, this is something that we've seen for so long that Dr. King, believe it or not, a lot of people like, Dr. King, he was a great defender of black people. He went out there and he would talk to black, and he was telling people about us, and maybe you didn't hear what he said. He was a defender of the human soul. And he thought racism, consumerism, these things that take us away from each other were problems for the welfare of the human soul. And that means white, black, and others. And it just so happened to be that he is of the class that is the most, at the time and still perhaps today, despised and the most oppressed. Yet he is saying, your oppression is doing you harm. Because your soul your ancestors really are probably like, damn, I wish you wouldn't do that. I thought we'd learn better. And so let's think about them. Let's think about our ancestors a little bit as we move forward to be that descendant who is doing good by our people. And our people, like I said before, we've had many journeys over the last 200,000 years leaving Africa by foot, some by boat. Nowadays, people on airplanes and whatnot. So, but the thing is, it's a continual exchange of the human family that we should say is beautiful. What a beautiful story. Look at all the multiple faceted stories of the human family. And then to understand that we come from a single flower. And as all flowers, at some point, the seeds disperse. So I just want to thank you all for coming again. tonight, what we're gonna do now is just take I'm gonna play some music for the radio crowd. We're gonna take like a 15-minute intermission break where folks can go get a drink or whatnot, peruse the books, talk to each other or whatnot, and then we're gonna be back at 8:15 with the band, and we're gonna do a good hour of music for you, and then after that, we're just gonna let y'all hang out and whatnot, and I hope that's cool. But since I have you right now, if there's anybody in the audience who has any thoughts or just wants to say anything at this time, I know we're in wild times right now, you know what I'm saying? And I want to be of service, and if you feel like you'd like to just stand up and say anything, got any thoughts, you're welcome to do that. Pass you the microphone. So I give that opportunity there. Anybody want to do that?
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, all right, keep it rough. Keep it very brief, my brother, because we're on radio, and I like to just keep it brief so we can move on. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Arzinia Jerome Richardson. I'm a longtime resident, patriot, fan. I'm a great student of Ken Babbs and Ken Kesey, who were some of the great leaders of the counterculture of America. They taught me to always question, always reason, never believe anything. Ken Kesey said, if you don't know, you just don't know. Belief is the death of knowledge. But there's one thing I'd like to share. On this planet, all of these divisions, the lines, the states, the individual steps in between identification between your mother, your father, where you were born, in relationship to my mother, my father, where I was born. This has nothing to do with your safety. Worldwide, safety is about behavior. Simply, every state, every city, every province, every religion, every stance is about behavior. You can be Iranian, you can be from Afghanistan, you can be from Hackensack, New Jersey. If you all share a care for your mother, your brother, your family, there simply is no division. The only division will be enforced by police, judges, people who have no relation to you, no understanding of your individual personage. You're living under rule of people who have no consideration of style, finesse, your mother or your father. So I have to keep it short. My brother knows I'll go long. But what it is, what I put out to everyone, Arzinia Jerome Richardson, is that we need to have one passport for the world. One land, one people, no divisions. My sisters and brothers in India should hear all the stories I have to tell about Ken Kesey and Ken Babbs, Chuck Kesey. One love, one life, one people. Amen.
Be back in 15 minutes.